And we are live. Welcome back to the Jaylee Show Live. Thank you so much for all the comments and suggestions of guests and such that we've had recently. I really, really appreciate it. We're trying to kind of get through them. We're now scheduled for months and months and months ahead with loads of cool people. But who cares about what's happening in the future? I live in the present, damn it. I live right here. And right now we have the wonderful Leah Turner sat with me today. How are you, Leah?
I'm good, yeah, a bit sweaty.
I know. We were saying
it's such a heat wave, but apart from that, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very much the same. It was nice talking to you earlier and just being like, great day for a video show when we're both absolutely melting.
I know. I kind of wish I could do it in the garden, but I don't think I'll be able to see anything.
Yeah, and that's the moment that someone starts mowing their lawn is just as we go live, right?
Yeah, typically. Or like the other day, I just have a random seagull attacking my dog in the garden. So that.
I mean, that's good LinkedIn Live content right there.
Yeah. Well, that would be a lot of bloopers, wouldn't it? So.
Yeah, I get. We release like a vlog every month, so I constantly just get like messages from editors being like, "Your bloopers are so much better than your content." I'm like, oh, son of a like.
Okay. I feel like most of my life is a blooper.
Right, so look, just before the call we were talking about it, and we scheduled this like 2-3 months ago, right at the edge of before the world changed and lockdown. Is that about right?
Yeah, I think it was when I was down in Cornwall visiting my mum, I think. Right. And that was in March.
Okay, so yeah, exactly the right time. And since then, well, I mean, I want to get into a little bit just about your good self, because you know your tenure on LinkedIn has been very short and very, very successful. And then over the last few months that since lockdown, while we've had this arranged, even better things are happening. So originally I was going to talk to you about transcription and stuff, but as you were saying, that's not necessarily your kind of main focus anymore.
I'm still doing it because obviously I've got a lot of clients I'm really loyal to and I wouldn't want to let them down. But there has been a significant decrease in transcription work anyway because of COVID, thankfully. Sure. So yeah, I took a bit of a direction. It's given my hands a little bit of a rest because I'm starting to get like really bad problems with my hands. So it's been a refreshing change to do something different, and something that while I'm in isolation has allowed me to speak to other people face to face and still like interact with new people. Yeah, that's been quite nice.
Well, I'm the first person as well to like shite all over coaches who have no experience, but you have such good experience, and I know from talking to you,
it's short experience, but it's been intense. So,
tell me about that. So, what happened? Like, you know, you've joined LinkedIn what 10 months ago now?
Not even that. It was November.
Wow.
I started in November, and I was looking for some extra work because there was a lady that wanted to work with me that I'd worked with for like on and off for over a year, and she was really, really good, but she was really struggling in the job that she was in. She wasn't happy. And she said to me, can you find me enough work if I was to leave my job and come work for you 25 hours a week? And I was like, I don't have enough work to support that, but give me a few months and I'll just do it. Like, I really wanted her on my team, and I was like, this is the opportunity I have to grow.
Sure.
So I didn't really have any expectations when I went on LinkedIn. I just kind of poked around a little bit and thought, you know, is there anything interesting? I still had a logo as my profile because I didn't feel comfortable on LinkedIn showing who I was, because I thought I don't really belong on LinkedIn. It's very corporate. It's very grey suits. It's all these businessmen.
And what was the feeling there? Like, why feel? And why did you feel? Yeah.
Well, I started talking to a few different people. One of them was Chris Williams, and he was just like, you know, you can be yourself. And I sort of thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. So I put a picture out sort of saying, you know, this is me and this is what I do. And I had some really good responses and made a few sort of people that I was speaking to regularly. And I think I put out a couple of posts that were just quite real, like a few holiday pictures, trying to get kind of a background so people could kind of know the person behind what I do. And it turned out to be a lot more interesting than what I do, and loads more people engaged in stuff that was more about my personality than transcription, because that's it's a pretty boring subject.
Yeah, sure.
And I went on holiday to Thailand just after Christmas for a month. And at that point, I had about 10,000 people that were either connected or following me.
Okay.
And I didn't know that that was unusual at the time. And it wasn't until a few people sort of said, holy shit, that's a very short amount of time. And then it's just continued to snowball, like 1,000 a week or something, some weeks more.
Wow.
And it just, it goes up and up and up. And I don't really send connection requests. It's very rare that I do. But I think there's just, I don't know, I think I'm encouraging people to be themselves, like show their personality, not just be the version that they are in the office. They can be the person they are at home as well on LinkedIn.
Well, and I think what's really interesting is that your initial concept of LinkedIn, having the logo up, I don't belong here, and that kind of was what LinkedIn was like. Like I've been on LinkedIn for a decade or so, and used it kind of as part of a tool around here and there. But it was that kind of corporate feeling, and there used to be tons of people who would always post, this isn't Facebook. This isn't Facebook. Don't post personal stuff. But no, I know. But I'm starting to see that that part of the community is dying out, because everyone that I speak to on this show who's got a killer profile, who's actually doing business on LinkedIn and being successful, people aren't posting like, good news, our new $9.99. The people aren't just selling to people. The people who are successful are themselves. And I think everyone's unpuckering the butthole a little bit, man. Like, I think it doesn't have to be ties and boardrooms in LinkedIn, because guess what? Like, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not wearing a goddamn tie, and you can't make me.
One of my favorite things is when I see a certain demographic of people, like the more middle-aged older guys that were very corporate, when I see them commenting saying, actually, do you know what, I've started posting a bit more personal stuff, and I'm really enjoying my newsfeed changing, and I'm really enjoying this more personal interaction. And when I see that, and they're like, do you know what, I used to be corporate, I used to hate all this Facebook content, and now I've actually got involved in it and it's really fun. You're just like, well, lighten up a bit. It doesn't have to be all serious. How boring would LinkedIn be if it was just CV advert, join my webinar? It's so dull.
I was on it. I was on it when that's all it was. And it wasn't.
I never bothered with it before. Yeah. And then I started scrolling through, I was like, oh, dog picture, oh, meme, oh, someone's talking about a really inspirational story that they've overcome something. And I'm like, I'm here for this.
Yeah.
I'm here. I want the business. I want the inspiration. I want the education. But I also want a bit of fun and personality. I want to see who the people are. I want to know the exciting things that they've done that week, whether it's about business or their kid had they've just had a granddaughter or whatever it is. I want to know all of it.
Totally. Yeah, totally, 100%. And it doesn't have to be that disconnect between like, oh, I'm going to go here for business, and then I'm going to log off, and I'm going to go over here and have funsies, because I like spend my life on LinkedIn because it's part of my business. So what, I can't have fun all the time? Come on. Yeah. That doesn't seem right. That doesn't even vaguely seem right.
One of the things that it's just popped into my head, but I sort of think with Facebook, people say, oh, it's not Facebook. But on Facebook, when you're posting something and interacting with people, you're interacting with people that you already know. Whereas on LinkedIn, you're interacting with people that you don't know. So if you walk into a pub on a Friday night and you just stay with your group of friends and you don't talk to anybody else, like, you might have a fun night, but you're probably not going to have as much fun as if you start making some new friends. So LinkedIn's like, you can still have those conversations, but you're making new friends who are potentially business leads. So why not spend your time with the people that you might do business with?
And also, like, people buy from people. People have always bought from people long before social media, long from anything. It was about like, I want to buy from that person, not that person. Everyone sells the same thing, right? If I want to go and get tires, I've got 55 places to get tires. I want to work with you because you spent 5 more minutes with me because I'm an idiot and don't know what tires fit on my car. Great.
Yeah, exactly.
You're now my person, right?
Exactly.
But then, and that's why people work with us. Like, I swear a lot. And if you don't like this, and please don't work with me because I'm like it all the time. Why not put that out? Like, why not put that out, right? Why not put that out? And that way, when people do want to work with you, they're you're like straight away having funsies and having a giggle. Like you and I, when we've been talking, we've been taking the piss out. We've literally been taking the piss out of each other for every message, right? That's the same relationship I want to have with any of my clients. I want them to have a bad day and be like, yo, how you doing? And us have half a laugh and be like, cool, see you later, you know?
I feel like in the past as well, there was a lot less choice.
Yeah.
50 years ago, 20 years ago, there wasn't 100 choices for everything that you bought. You couldn't go to 100 different places. And now there is. So we're drawn to work with people that we already have an existing rapport with. So I always say that to people in my coaching as well. It's like that you will more likely do business with somebody that you have an existing rapport and a bit of trust with than a complete stranger. So you meet the guy in the grey suit who hands you a business card and tells you everybody loves him, or you've got a friend or someone that you actually know and other people are endorsing them, and you know a little bit about their story and respect them. You're going to go to them. You're always going to go to them, not the grey suit that just says, hey, yeah, I'm great at this. You want the people with the credibility.
Yeah.
The people that you're familiar with, that you've seen on your newsfeed and you've had a little chat with in the comments every now and then.
And even then there ends up being 5 different people who have the credibility, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, and that you're all offering the same service.
Yeah.
Then I pick the one I want to work with.
Yeah. Then you pick them based on their personality, don't you?
Exactly, which I just can't get from if you're going to post company posts saying like, you know, here's our about us. Go to our contact page. Like, nah, I want to hear someone be like.
This is what I said to Mark the other day, because I had a chat with Mark Gaisford, and I said, and loads of people went, oh yeah, when you go onto LinkedIn, it is a platform full of salespeople. Everybody is selling, and nobody intends to buy, generally speaking. So if you're just constantly putting out sales pitches to a load of salesmen, it's like having the same double glazing salesman at your door 4 times a day. You're going to tell him to piss off. You're going to get cross. You don't want to be that guy. So instead, you want to subtly suggest to people with the stories of your life, you want to say to them, look at the kind of journey that I've been on. Look at this credibility I have in my industry.
Yeah.
I'm offering you some value back. I'm maybe making you laugh, or maybe making you feel good in some way. And they're the people that you remember. Yeah. And when you do need to buy double glazing, that hasn't nagged the fuck out of you for the last week.
Right, exactly. Because and also those are the people who get blocked. That's the whole thing. If you're selling all the time, I just stop engaging with you and I'm out. So unless you catch me the first 3 times that you try and sell at me, if that's all that you're releasing, you're done and I'm out. Whereas if I don't need to buy something today, but I'm going to connect with you and be like, idiot, love it, hilarious, right? Yeah. Then in 6 months' time, when someone else asks me, do you know someone who helps out with LinkedIn coaching? I do. I follow, and she's crazy, but you're going to love her, right? And that's the whole point, isn't it?
I've got 35,000 miniature adverts out there that are tagging me in posts, and I get someone posts about wanting a transcriber. I get 10 tags in it, and of course, who are you going to contact? The person with 10 tags or the person with 1?
All day long, right? There's not even a conversation. And the really interesting thing is, again, I worked in sales before social media was as prevalent as it is now. You would have to work your entire career 6 times over to get 35,000 people in your network that you can kind of get in touch with on a daily basis.
Exactly.
You'd have to kill yourself. That'd be crazy.
It would be really weird.
So you found out you had 10,000 connections. Everyone was like, wow. And you're like, yeah, it's how I roll. So how did that turn into something that to start teaching people and coaching? Are you just literally looking over the last few months of mistakes and saying, here's where I succeeded, here's where I failed? Like, what are some things you're helping people with?
So I never went into LinkedIn with a strategy for success for getting all these followers. It's been an absolute byproduct. It's exciting and it's really interesting to see it happening, and quite intimidating and a little bit stressful handling that much engagement on all of my posts. But if I'm completely honest, I kind of went back and I started analysing what I was doing and why it was succeeding, and thinking, okay, if I'm thinking a bit more practically about it, what was I doing? What was connecting with people? What was getting the people in my DMs saying, what you're saying is really inspiring me? And I started looking at it and thinking about it, and a few people had messaged me. I'd spoken to a few people, actually a lady that was in my industry, and she was struggling. And I said, well, why don't this has worked for me? And she went off and she felt very happy. And she'd actually been training with somebody else, doing some LinkedIn training, and felt really disillusioned with it. And so I gave her some tips, which she found, I think, that felt better for her, like more personal. And I'd done the same for a few other people. And someone said to me, well, why aren't you charging for it? Like, why don't you charge to do this? Because people will pay you to do it. You've got the credibility, you're walking the walk. Because there's a lot of people out there in training that don't have a lot of engagement. And of course, they'll tell you that engagement doesn't matter, but how are you reaching new audiences if you're not getting engagement? Like, they'll say numbers doesn't matter, but how do you, if you're just reaching the 10,000 people every time you post, where are you finding brand new clients? So, exactly. I thought, well, I might as well give it a go. So I posted about it and said, would there be anybody that would be interested in it? And I had tons of people that said, yes, absolutely, we'd really be interested in it. And I thought, well, typing is low, and I have bills to pay and a son to support, and I'm on my own. So I thought, well, I'm kind of, if I've got all these people saying they would pay me to do it and I don't do it, I'm just stupid. Like, you're away from a load of money. So, I'm not stupid. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And I had a first session with a guy called Cedric. And I think most people watching will have seen him popping up in his GIFs all over the place. He's amazing. And he was quite similar in that he didn't feel able to be himself. And now, my gosh, he's like the sass queen of LinkedIn. He is everywhere. I love seeing him everywhere. It was almost like I kind of unleashed this personality that he, and that's the same. It keeps happening. People are saying to me, I feel uncomfortable bringing myself to the platform because I feel like I'm going to be ridiculed or that it doesn't belong.
Sure.
And then actually when they start doing it, they realize what a warm response they get, how much everybody gets engaged, and they go, oh, this actually feels really good, and their confidence comes up. There's been a few people, their confidence has just been so lifted. And some of them have just gone off the scale. They've had like seriously viral posts.
Wow.
Like, one lady had her first post after we spoke went to 1,500 reactions, or more than that, I think.
Oh, lovely.
It was, and she'd never had more than like 60 or 70 before.
Phenomenal.
And it's been really mad. Like, that doesn't happen for everybody, but when people are putting in the work and really like applying things that I'm talking about, it is really, really working.
and what a perfect time to offer it to people, though, because one of the things obviously that's happened during the entirety of the lockdown is so many businesses have found themselves just saying, okay, well, all of my traditional marketing things, all of my sales things, they don't exist anymore. Like, I can't go to that exhibition and conference, I can't post it here, I can't advertise here, which is like, real issue. And it's been, for some people who are pushing digital services, I've found it a pleasure to actually be able to help people. Like, right now, when businesses are struggling so much, and help them to be like, if you do these things, I can guarantee you're going to get out to more people. You can use this for a long time, and you can get yourself some business now when other businesses are now just completely quiet. They're not posting out anything. They're just weathering the storm. And I get it. But what happens when everyone, the doors are kind of opening next month, right?
It's also the greatest time as well, because I think because the world is feeling, or has been feeling, very anxious, people have been sharing more of themselves, more emotional stuff and struggles and concerns. And so you've seen this real community on LinkedIn, and it's such a cheesy word, but it really has been like a community of people pulling together. You've got, Nick McEwen is out there setting up a group to help people that have been made redundant because of it all. You've got Chris Williams has been offering free help with people's CVs and interview techniques, I think it was. Don't quote me on that. But he's been offering that free help to people. And people are getting on board. They're offering free training. I'm not offering free training because I'm poor. But apart from a 4-year-old son that literally eats me out of house and home, but there are people out there that can do these things, that are doing these things, and they are absolutely amazing. And just that, seeing those people pull together is really heartwarming. And so people are sharing more, they are talking more, and they are getting to spend more time online, Zoom calling random people, having chats, getting involved, posting pictures more about their children and their dogs, because they're bored. they're bored at home on furlough and things like that. So they're networking with grown-ups.
And
their colleagues to talk
and
to.
You also haven't had the water cooler. They haven't had the chat on the way on the commute with your friend that you commute with. You haven't had just
like, I describe LinkedIn now. I say it used to be the corporate boardroom, and now it's the co-working space coffee break area where you've got all the different industries and everybody comes together. You chat about holidays, you exchange referrals for other businesses. You say, oh, do you know someone that does this? Yeah, and I know someone that does that. That's what it feels like now. You know, you have a laugh and a joke. You're showing each other pictures of your holiday or the new puppy that you've got or something, but you're also getting business tips on business concerns and congratulating each other for getting a new client or whatever. It's a really lovely place to be at the moment.
It is as well. And like, you know, how many people spend more time working than they do like hanging out? So why not make this a really nice community where it is all over a coffee and beer, and you can, you know, and the two of you can shoot after a room and have a more in-depth conversation about straight business, or you can just, you know, talk shite and say hello, right? What a nice place to be.
Exactly. I really like that. And also because on LinkedIn you have access to people that are all over the world.
Yeah.
So I find that I'm reconsidering things because I'm getting a different cultural point of view on stuff.
Really
interesting. And that's really, really nice because we are very set in our ways in Britain, a lot of us. And sometimes having another point of view is incredibly valuable. And I really like the culture. Sometimes it's a little bit awkward because some of the culture clashes can be a little bit difficult to overcome. But generally speaking, that's something that I travel. I love to travel because I love experiencing other cultures and other ways of life and other ways of thinking. And so I can get that sat in front of my computer. And that's like, I mean, it's not really the second best thing, but it's better than nothing.
And right now, when there is no option, it's a really nice way of doing. I found it so interesting.
I just want to go on holiday.
Just today on Facebook, a post came up of a holiday that me and my wife went on 5 years ago to Croatia, and we were both just like, no. We started the day just like, oh come on, I want to go away and see some.
It feels like I was only in Thailand in January, and it feels like a year or more than that since I was there. Like I keep checking the borders in Thailand, thinking, is it open again? Because now I'm coaching, I can do that from Thailand if I need to.
How cool!
So, well, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen though.
No, not quite yet. But I mean, that's the wonderful thing about what we do, isn't it? You can genuinely do it from anywhere in the world and help everyone everywhere.
The child is about to start school, so they're going to limit me when I can go away.
Oh.
And I can afford to pay the massive fines.
Yes. I only found out, I don't have any kids. I only just found out about these fines from my friends whose kids are kind of growing up, and was like, they fine you if the kid isn't going to school.
It's like £60 per day.
Oh, my dad would have been broke. My dad would have been broke. What a nightmare. So,
even though it's on the school board.
Well, you know, connect on LinkedIn. So, bar the UK, what's been the biggest country that you've seen the most kind of connections come through from?
America, definitely America and Canada. I get a lot of those. I think it's more like the English-speaking countries, obviously, because there's not the translation gap. I get quite a lot from Australia. And generally Europe, lots of like Sweden, Netherlands, Spain, Portugal, but predominantly because I offer transcription and that's in English, and coaching because that's in English, I tend not to always accept connections from people that aren't in the UK.
No, I find the same thing.
Not English speaking, because it's meant that I can't work with them. But now that I'm doing coaching more than transcription, I am opening up my connections to more places anyway, because I think, well, you know, I coached someone in Uruguay last week and someone in Italy, and I've spoken to a few Americans, and you know, that's one of the perks. It's really nice to just, you know, I'm just sat there having a chat about our common use of LinkedIn with somebody who's in like the middle of America.
Yeah, and one of the things I really love about that is you work all morning, you're working with the UK, like about 2:00, the East Coast wakes up, and then you start having meetings with a whole different set of people who are fresh and bushy-eyed, just like you were 4 hours ago. You know?
4, I wish. I was up at 5:00 this morning.
Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, it was impossible to sleep last night in the heat. So look, I don't want to keep it too long. We try and keep these short because everyone is busy, and we can grab as much value and send people on their merry way.
Amazing to do.
And there's that.
Yeah.
And so look, obviously this is what you do, but without giving away too much of the bacon, as it were, what's some tips you can give people just to spruce up a little bit? If you're looking to get some more engagement out there, everyone is right now. They've been posting sporadically over a few years, and over the last 3 months, they've realized they need to pull their finger out and get themselves together and start getting some engagement. What would your suggestions be in a high level?
Don't be afraid to add people that you don't know.
Okay.
That's definitely something, because I think a lot of people they just expect the connections to come to them.
Right.
And that doesn't really work, because obviously, generally speaking, obviously my posts have gone quite viral, so I end up getting a lot of requests. But generally speaking, people don't, if everybody thinks, oh, well, I'll wait for them to come to me, no one's adding each other.
No.
So get involved on posts by your second connections, not your first connections, the second degree. Start commenting on them, because then you'll start getting seen by new crowds of people.
That's interesting.
And following hashtags and getting involved in conversations on hashtags that interest you, because you're going to find other people that are interested in similar things to you. So you're starting to speak to new crowds of people and connect with new people. I think that's one thing that really people don't think about, and they just end up constantly interacting with the same people.
Exactly.
And the more you interact on those people's posts, the more those posts appear in your because of the algorithm.
Sure.
So you'll end up seeing the same 10 people on repeat.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you need to get involved in new areas. That's really key. And posting different sorts of things.
Okay.
Sometimes post text, sometimes post videos, sometimes post pictures, because text does better on LinkedIn generally. So don't always feel like you need to have a picture or a video. You can just post some, and it doesn't have to be some really well thought out post. You don't have to have some long engaging story. You can just throw something out there, spur of the moment, that made you laugh, or something that happened, without having to go into great depth writing. You're not writing a novel.
No.
It's just a post. It could be like a Facebook status update. Just post something, anything, consistently.
And that's it. And it is the consistency, isn't it? And make sure it's coming out. Now, one of the things you touched on earlier, and I think it's important for people to know as well, because it ain't easy, is I've seen, especially with the post for this live show and such, you comment on every comment. You comment on everything. You make sure you're replying, which is so impressive considering the amount of engagement you're getting. So how do you deal with it? How do you not just sit replying all day and do nothing else? Or
I mean, I try in the first hour of a post, I try not to be too busy, because the first hour is quite key, because
right.
that gets the sort of organic reach going. So I try to always, and then I tend to revisit them, especially if they get really big. I tend to revisit them later on. I physically cannot reply to comments on some of them. But I just feel like if someone is going to stop and comment on my post, it is polite to actually acknowledge that they have commented and show that I appreciate them getting involved in the conversation. Because, another metaphor for you, if you're going to network, you don't walk into a networking event, shout your opinion, and then leave. You stay and engage in the conversation. That's the point of networking.
I talk about this all the time. It's talks about this all the time. You have to put the social part into social media. Yeah. You can't just do media. It doesn't work. Are you really, when someone comments and says great video, are you really not going to, you've gone to the trouble of posting a video, making it, and you're not going to be like, thanks. Or like, what did you like about it? You can't spend a second. It amazes me.
I try my best, because I see a lot of the big influencers on LinkedIn, and they chuck something out there and then they just don't get involved. And to me, that feels rude. And I know that for some of them, they're just too busy. But for me, I prioritize that these people that are engaging with me are the people that are giving me this platform to be able to do things that I. So if I don't show my appreciation for that, I'm a dickhead, really, aren't I? If they put me there, I need to appreciate them. I need to show them my gratitude, because I wouldn't be there if it wasn't for them. That sounds so corny, but
no, it didn't sound corny. It didn't sound corny. It sounded really, really true. And I think that is the most important thing that I'm finding out more and more from talking to people who have had success, not only on LinkedIn, but across any platform, is be yourself and be appreciative. And guess what? That's how communities are built. Leah, it's been amazing. Like, thank you so much for joining and giving me half hour of your time. I really appreciate it.
No, I really appreciate it. It's been really fun.
It's been so good. And yeah, I'll say hello after the call. But thank you so much for joining.